It's really interesting. I ask every C-suite executive who comes onto the podcast before we get on this call, and I say, from your perspective, what are the two greatest challenges to creating long-term sustainable growth? Across all the C-suite executives, number one is internal alignment as a challenge. Number three is the balance between short and long term. Number two is the lack of deep understanding of the voice of the customer. And the C-suite executives talk about, Steve, that's the part that helps internal alignment, right? That the voice of the customer is our North Star. That's what aligns us. And the long term versus the short term, if we just stay focused on the needs of the customer, that solves all of our issues. And over our conversations, what I've gotten from you is that if we just stay focused on the need of the customer versus our own growth objectives and internal KPIs and things that we tend to think about every single day, right? How are we doing on this month's quota, this quarter? How's next quarter looking, right? Those are very internal focused. Those kinds of things, they solve themselves if we stay focused on the customer and what's right. And that was what I've been taking away from our conversations. Is that a good takeaway as we kind of get started in this? Your passion for the voice of the customer and understanding them. And I want to have your definition of what that is. But is that the number one thing we should be focused on above all else?
I think it's a combination. Of course, business literacy is super critical for you to be successful in everything that you do. But what I have seen in my experience is that many organizations talk about customer centricity. Who hasn't seen before a graphic with the customer at the center and all the functions represented with arrows pointing to the customer? But you don't really feel it. They don't leave it. So it cannot be just like a graph or a poster. It's something that it's ingrained in everything that you do with all the decisions, with the planning, with what you're solving for your customers, who you want to serve, what are their pain points, their aspirations, their expectations, their challenges. So it needs to be beyond the demographics and the firmographics. Of course, you need to know the name, the email, the vertical, the size of the company, but it's way beyond of that. And you cannot get that through surveys or Power BI or the data exclusively. You need to go broader. You need to be invested and interested in the success of your customers. So my preferred way to do that is through conferences, through customer calls or meetings. So I just had a customer meeting this week, and I intentionally make time to listen from them because you can hear things that you're going to be connecting the dots beyond the data. It's also important, but you're going to hear more things that are not going to be part of it. And then you create this entire plan to please your customer and to address their needs, being through a product development, an enhancement in your service, or something else that you haven't thought about. Ideally, you would be able to innovate on their behalf, right? To think about what they need, even before they know that they need about what they need, right? So you know what's going on, and then you can come up with a solution and to surprise them. So I think it's all those elements that come together, and you can also represent your customers inside of a room and challenge the status quo and inform the organization because you have a data and quality information to inform the other peers. So you can work together towards the benefit of the customer. And then it creates the virtual circle, right? On the word of mouth and the brand that we care a lot about, but it's something that you normally do not discuss as, with the top management. You need to bring the data and the results, but the brand is not just the logo. The brand is all the customer experience and all the things that the customers are exposed while working with you. When they're talking to us, we are the company. So, how we are serving them, because customer feedback gives you direction. You're not flying blind when you have this data. It's not something that you think your customer is going to need or like or want, all right? It's something that it's really informed. And that's what we need to be super focused, laser focused on the customer and keep reiterating the process because things might change. one happy customer today might have an issue tonight, and tomorrow, guess what? It's going to be something different. So you need to continue with this feedback loop on working for them and informing them and asking for more feedback. So it's a constant work. It takes a lot of work, but it's really rewarding, I can assure you.